Mr. Baines, actually, can I speak to you before you go?
Can I be of any help?
Well, I hope so. It's actually about Kim's little brother. John?
What's the problem?
No problem. There's just been a few things that have come up recently that have raised some questions, I guess you could say. Are you sure he should be at this daycare?
It's fine by me. I mean, if it's okay with you.
What I mean is, are you sure this is the right age group that he should be with?
What do you mean?
The thing is, he seems a bit older than you told us. Now, I don't mean any offense when I say this, but are you completely sure about his age? I know it's a strange question, but I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't some mix-up, perhaps, and you do know how old your son is.
Yes, sir, I sure do.
Okay, yeah, no problem. We just wanted to make sure, you know, no worries. We enjoy having him. But, yeah, well, thank you for giving me the time, and, we'll see you at pickup. All right, have a good day. Bye, Daddy. All right, John, you ready for snack time? What are you doing? Go get me a beer. Okay. What's up? Well, it's another day, so that's cool. Today's movie is, you know, I'm sorry guys, I'm not fully into this today. I'm really distracted thinking about Elf. You know, from Melmac. He eats cats. Yeah. The last episode has me really worried about him, and I don't think he's gonna make it. Alright, anyways, today's movie is Seedpeople. That's right, we got another full moon joint here, guys. Charles Band. Seedpeople? The title card is a little underwhelming and boring, but at least the credits make up for that. No, just the exact same. Alright then, we start at a hospital where this guy looks like he's having a bad day.
You've injured your head, Mr. Baines.
I've got to talk to the authorities, there's not much time.
Then this guy walks in and we find out who the patient is.
You're Tom Baines, a geologist with the State Geodetic Survey Office?
Playing Tom Baines is Sam Hennings. Private War is on his resume. Then we get a hint as to why the FBI is there.
So you know about them?
That's why I'm here, Tom.
You've got to make sure that I destroyed all of them.
Then the movie turns into a flashback, and we find out there's only one bridge in and out of Comet Valley. And I do like that name, Comet Valley, you know? It's just kind of neat sounding. Comet Valley. I'd live there. I mean, not this Comet Valley, but a Comet Valley. Yeah, I'd live there. And Tom thinks...
Here I am again, in Comet Valley with no way out.
Turns out his ex-girlfriend's parents turned their house into a bed and breakfast, which leads to this totally normal line.
I never would have dreamed that the next time you and I would see each other that you would be the innkeeper and I would be the paying guest.
Maybe that's why they broke up, you know? He talks like a weirdo. This is Heidi. She's played by Andrea Roth, and she was in all 23 episodes of RoboCop, the TV series. Once inside, we find out that it's just going to be these two and some chick named Kim staying at the house. Now, I need everybody to be careful because it's about to get smooth in here.
You've changed the place a lot.
But you haven't changed.
Turns out that Kim's dead mom was Heidi's sister-in-law, and now somehow...
And I'm the designated mother for Kim now. She's going through a difficult age.
Tom recovers nicely, though, by asking what it's like to turn your house into a B&B, and the combo gets confusing.
What's it like being divorced but still living with your ex-wife?
Like, his ex-wife is not her, right? I mean, since he's just visiting, but then how the hell does she know about this divorce? And what does that have to do with turning your house into a B&B?
It's nothing personal. I'm just telling you what it's like to turn your home into a B&B.
What? We're just gonna move past that. We discover that Tom is in Comet Valley because his friend Thurman invited him to give a talk about meteorites, which apparently have become a touchy subject in town. Here's Thurman now talking to Ed about
somebody's fooling around in that orchard at night, Thurman.
Which Ed feels is related to.
You fellas ought to stop stirring up these meteorite nuts.
Turns out what started this whole thing is that Thurman found what he believes to be a meteorite. Then we meet the Deputy Sheriff Joe Cool. Nah, I'm just kidding. His actual name is
Brad Yates. We'd always been competitors and still chasing Heidi.
And the actor's actual name is Dane Witherspoon. He was in 60 episodes of Santa Barbara. Going to see Heidi. Apparently this guy, who is her brother, their maid, Mrs. Santiago, and the famous Kim. And I know we're all thinking here, this totally looks like a normal 6 to 17-year-old with as vague as they are about her age. I mean, this absolutely looks like a young person and in no way resembles a 25-year-old woman. Nope. You could roll her in daycare and nobody would even question it. Apparently, your mom dying ages you by a decade. But don't worry, they put her in overalls because that's the part that really sells it. By the way, Kim's played by Holly Fields. She went on to do a lot of voice work. Anyways, she doesn't trust Mrs. Santiago.
I can't stand to be around her. She reads my mind.
And that she's gonna tape some proof. The brother leaves to do something with his orchard, and the deputy mentions he saw Tom and that she's been a little secretive.
Yeah, but you didn't tell me he was gonna be staying here.
What's the big deal about Tom staying here?
Well, I mean, he's your ex-boyfriend. He's probably gonna try and fuck you. You know, just because he wants to doesn't mean he'll get to. Plus, he just got divorced, so he's not even thinking about that kind of stuff. Do you even hear yourself right now? Like, the words? You sound like a stupid person right now. That's what you sound like, a stupid person. The orchard must be a day's drive away because the brother doesn't get there until dark. Dork. Where he comes across this weird-looking tree. And I know what we're all thinking here. I mean, sure, tree porn is great, you know? I mean, we all love it and it's really popular, but like, been there, done that, you know what I mean? Give us something new. Oh, yeah, oh, okay, so, well, I'm honored to present you guys with the world's first. It looks like we're gonna get a one-tree bukkake. And they said it couldn't be done. Wow, that's impressive. You know, like, that's a lot. That's almost too much, actually, almost. But that's the thing about tree bukkakes, you know, there is a lot of it. Almost too much. It's a 2 on the nose. I like that one. So it looks like all that protein turned the human into some sort of creature, or perhaps a sea person? Although that one is probably for when they go back to looking human again, like here. Back at the hospital, the Fed mentions a new character.
What about Doc Roller? Did Thurman take you to see him?
But before we get to him, Tom tries his hardest to convince Thurman here that he isn't gay.
So you came up here when you were a kid?
Yeah, whenever I could get some pretty little senorita to come up here with me.
I mean, he really sells it.
Wow, what memories.
So there's like nothing about him, right? That gives the vibe like he should be calling chicks senoritas. I mean, take me for instance. Like, you look at me and you go, yeah, he looks like the type to call women chicks, you know? And I'm okay with that. Before cave time is done, Tom blows Thurman. Just kidding. He's not gay, remember?
Wow, what memories.
No, Tom theorizes about a cave drawing.
Well, I think what we're looking at here is an eyewitness drawing of some major meteor fall.
Back at the B&B, we see the child Kim, overalls and all, trying to get proof about Mrs. Santiago when this appears. So I always do like when they film chase scenes like this, actually, like with the camera being low and like right behind the character. It always makes it feel more intense or, I don't know, dynamic. Anyways, Mrs. Santiago helps cement the idea that Kim is just a kid with a wild imagination. Then it starts.
You know, I went up to Indian Canyon today. Reminded me of when we used to go back there.
Wow, what memories.
I don't know what the big deal is. Yes, he's my ex-boyfriend, but he's just sleeping at my house, okay? Totally unrelated though, did you know his nickname used to be Donkey Dong? I just found that out. I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, I didn't know that. I don't know why that popped in my head. Hey, you want sausage for dinner? Like a big, fat, juicy 9-inch sausage? I mean, we can each have our own because I'm definitely gonna eat the whole thing. And that's why we don't trust ex-boyfriends. I guess this is just the sexual innuendo episode. I didn't realize there was so much in there until I'm filming it here. Let's keep going. Thurman and this other guy go to irrigate that same spot as the brother, where we get maybe one of the best lines in cinema history.
What in the ding-dong heck-a-madoodle hell is that?
I mean, that's incredible. All right, let's play a game here. It's called Which One Dies? Basically, you just pick which ones you think is gonna die. Is it this guy? Jack, I think? I don't know. Or is it Thurman? The friend, you know, it's always a good kill. Or is it both of them? 2 deaths. I mean, nobody would see that coming. Smart. And in the question of which one dies, it's this guy. Now, just this guy, because fuck this guy, you know?
Doc had the reputation of being the town nut.
Yeah, okay, no, that tracks. Then we see Doc drinking and driving before this vehicle gets all smashy, and Thurman happens to be there. Well, it appears that Doc hits Thurman. Get to the nerd talk, and we see the meteorite that Thurman found, and these two are there as well. Outside, we meet Bert.
I got a funny rock I want you to take a look at.
Tom offers to examine the rock for him, and Tom suggests,
You may have the rock in the pictograph there, my friend. This might be the Comet Valley meteorite.
at the cop shop, we find out,
something tripped the breaker at the substation again.
And this guy offers to go and reset them. Then we see what's causing the power issue. It's Doc! Of course, I mean, it was always gonna be Doc. Well, he says,
You don't understand. I've got to stop them. You may be one of them.
And after a brief tussle, the cop gets tweaked a little, and when he goes after Doc, this stuff happens. Looks like everyone's joining the party. The next day, as Tom is very carefully testing the sample, Kim shares a theory.
Thurman is... Mrs. Santiago killed him. She hypnotized Dad, too.
Tom, still trying to get his dick wet, adds in,
That smile of yours lights up the whole room like your Aunt Heidi.
And he keeps at it until the Popo shows up and tells us,
Thurman's dead. I know the son of a bitch that did it, too. It belongs to Doc Roller.
While discussing how to find Doc, the brother offers to help.
It's all right, Tom. I handle it by myself.
I was just about to say how handy I am with electrical stuff.
So they can read minds. Well, I'm sure that will come in handy for them later. Inside, Mrs. Santiago decides to rifle through Tom's things, and when he tries to get in, she opts for the move that would leave him with the least amount of questions, I'd say. So, I mean, she could have just came out of the door, like as a human and said something like, I was just checking if you needed more towels, like normal human hospitality things. Instead, she changes from a human into this thing for a few seconds, then back to looking like a human. And Tom isn't a kid like Kim, he should know what he just saw. It's just an interesting choice that Mrs. Santiago makes here. Like, that's all. That's all I'm saying. Doc McCrazy shows up brandishing a firearm and a hatchet. Signs of a sane man. Then he introduces himself in the most normal way.
J. Burl Roller, propagator emeritus of planet Earth.
He asks Tom,
Are you one of them? Or one of us?
He also tells Tom what he's looking at isn't a mineral and offers up.
This was the goal of the leaf and the root.
Again, this is completely normal, sane way to talk to people.
For this did the blossom burn its hour.
Then he tells Tom what it actually is. I guess.
It is Testa. And where there is Testa, there is a seed.
I don't know what Testa is, but apparently enough people do that they decided to use that line. Apparently I'm just the dum-dum here. I bet like 15 of you out there are like, well, Testa actually is. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't know it. Won't ever need to know it. The Popo show up during this, so before Tom goes to get Brad, he blows Doc real quick. I'm kidding. Tom's not gay, remember?
Wow, what memories.
But by the time Brad gets inside, Doc has vanished. Then Brad blames Tom.
So what was I supposed to do? Eat the gun and throw him over my shoulder?
He would make a good sheriff.
I don't know, Tom. You're the guy that went to college. You should have been smart enough to think of something.
Tom swings by Bert's place to see what he can tell him about Doc, but he's pretty busy.
I'm busier than a one-legged man at an ass-kicking contest.
But they have worked together before.
He and I used to do experiments propagating stuff under ultraviolet lights.
Tom makes it to Doc's place and finds his hidden lab, and what do you know? He finds more meteorites. He opens one up and we see this thing. Tom reads a journal entry and says, sprouts. Back at the B&B, Kim sees lights outside her window and goes to investigate, while Tom helps himself into Heidi's room.
Is this some elaborate ruse to get into my bed?
He tells her Doc had another meteorite and...
I think that I know why Doc killed Thurman and destroyed the communication systems.
Then he shares his new knowledge.
The meteorites are seeds.
He says Doc already sprouted one seed, then us peasants get to find out what Testa is.
Testa's seed covering.
He tries bringing it home with this nugget.
This is the creature. This is the creature I saw in the room with her, Heidi.
But she's not having it until she realizes Kim left, then she needs him. Seems a little one-sided to me. Back with Kim, and she's filming strange people in the woods. Then she gets all the proof she'll need. Critters! That's what this reminds me of when they're like rolling on the ground. That's from Critters. That was bothering me. Anyways, her dad is there, and again, wouldn't it have been just a lot easier to just run after her instead of transforming? You know, okay, I get it, then it would just look like a pedophile chasing a kid down the road. I suppose they made the right choice. As she's running away, she gets hit by Tom like he's playing for the Maple Leafs. Kim tells them they need to go, and they barely get away in the nick of time. I mean, that was such a close call, you know, like that thing on two hands? They're only in a full-size SUV, I mean, that was too close for comfort. The next morning, these two argue about what's real, and we find out the camera broke from that body check, so they can't prove anything.
She says that she got everything she saw on tape. That works for her. Camera's ruined, and I can't prove to her that she didn't.
And now seems like a good time to bring up something. Has something been bothering you guys about these two as a couple, or do you like look at them and go, that makes sense that they were a couple, like there's nothing weird here. So like there has been something bothering me the whole movie so far about these two. Like they used to date, right? So when this movie came out, Tom was, the fuck? December 17th of what year? How does it not say the year? Okay, well, this just got a lot more interesting. All right, let's see if he has any kids that might give us a guess. What the? So they know they divorced, but they also don't know the year? God damn, like, was this guy in the CIA or something? Okay, quick search here, and oh, okay, yeah, there it is. All right, December 17th, 1950. Okay, so Tom was 42 and Heidi was 25 when this movie came out. 42, 25, 42, 25. Now I know some people might say that kind of age difference is for like that to be a couple is like an abomination of nature. You know, it's just so ghastly, like people can't even fathom it. But I know, I mean, at least two people that would say that's fine. That just happens, you know, it's the way it goes. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's a pretty good gap. You wouldn't want it any tighter. You spread it out even better. So I don't know. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's right. You know, who's to say? Who's to say? But also, how long ago did they date? You know, I mean, they made it feel like they dated in high school, but that wouldn't make sense because when she was in high school, he was in his early mid-30s. And when he was in high school, she wasn't even born yet. So that doesn't work. Okay, and while we're talking about age differences here, when this movie was made, Heidi was 25 and Kim was 16? Oh. Yeah, I thought for sure Kim was going on as, I mean, at least 25. That has got to be the oldest looking 16-year-old playing a kid I've maybe ever seen in my life. You know, like that literally does not compute for me. Like, she should be able to rent a car, no problem. Like, zero questions asked. Like, it turns out I'm the asshole on that one? Like, she's 16, she's not 25. My bad, I guess. I mean, you know. Then Heidi gets all blamey.
God damn it, Tom. You were the only person having a good influence on her, and now she thinks you believe that too.
Back off, lady. He's not her dad. Her dad is a seed person now, you know? It's on you, and you alone, to raise her right. Unable to sleep, Tom decides to tinker with the camcorder. And brace yourselves, ladies. It's about to get sexy in here. Oh, tidy whities. Those definitely existed. Turns out he was able to get the tape fixed and shows Heidi the flying creature. The trio goes to see if they can fix the power issue.
Tom, be careful.
See, and this is the difference between dating and not. Not dating? She says that and you respond in your head, you know? Dating, for a while, she says that and it's, oh really? Should I be careful? Do you think? I'm so glad you told me because I'm such a fucking idiot that I wouldn't know to be careful in this kind of situation. Even though I went to college and you didn't. You are just like your mother, do you know that? So it's probably best they aren't dating, you know, for everyone. Tom suggests they hike around the mountains to get help, which Heidi shoots down.
Got to get out of this valley.
Yeah, go ahead and run away. That's what you always do, isn't it?
Okay, from the sounds of it so far, it sounds like he just ran away the one time. And it was to go to college. So it wasn't even like running away. He just went to college. Then they find the dead cop who hasn't been turned, just decomposing. So they head to the sheriff's office. But nobody's there and Heidi thinks Doc is still to blame.
Doc didn't kill Frazier, for Christ's sakes. Nobody human can do something like that.
Then Tom totally takes advantage of the situation. So he heads back to the cave, probably looking for a quick glory hole session. I'm kidding, he's not gay, remember?
Wow, what memories.
But even if he was, that's totally fine. I don't have a problem with it. I have a gay uncle, you know? I mean, so I get it. So what I love about that last line is that now my uncles are sitting there like, I wonder who he's talking about, because I know it's not me. No, that's not true. My uncles don't watch my shit. Anyways, Tom finds Doc passed out. Looks like he had a one-man rave. And when he wakes up,
my lights will weaken you, and then I'll chop you to pieces.
But his battery is dying, so he goes another route. Apparently the fact that Tom is holding a gun means he has to be human? That's kind of deep, isn't it? The philosophy, that's deep. When asked about killing Thurman, you thought I was going to ruin that, huh? I can be serious sometimes. Not just dick and bukkake jokes. I mean, that's mostly what it is, but it's not all. Not all of it. When asked about killing Thurman,
they did it. Frank and Ed. The seed people inside them.
Also, it turns out the seed at his lab was an herbicide. He killed it. Doc also says plants are the most cunning and savage of all life forms.
We are being chased by seeds which were sown on the winds of the universe.
He also adds in,
this is a snapshot of their arrival on planet Earth.
Back at the lab, he mentions what's going on with the UV lights.
If you are under UV, they can't enter your mind.
So they take down the lights and head to the sheriff's office. But others got there first and they turn Heidi and Kim. And we see Tom tell the Fed how to kill the aliens.
You can't kill a cactus with a bullet, you have to hack it into thousands of pieces.
I mean, I think that would probably kill most things. Kind of like the vampire, stab a mistake in the heart. Well, I think if you stab most things in the heart, because if they have one, they'll probably die. I mean, undead aside, they'll probably die. Tom and Doc follow the aliens very closely. Again, how do they not see them right there? Turns out most of the town has been turned and they are working on digging up the mother lode. I'm not doing anything. I wasn't gonna say anything. I wasn't gonna make a joke or nothing. Let's move on. Let's keep moving. A bukkake.
A seed cone. Hundreds of seeds.
So they come up with a plan and head to Bert's to borrow his lights, and things get heated, and Bert makes a good point.
Bert Mosley learned a long time ago, don't argue with crazy people carrying guns.
These two show up, and Bert decides to try to get help from them, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. They use Bert's demise as an opportunity to escape. Then the happy couple shows up as they are trying to get to the last of their supplies. A little fight takes place, and it turns out if they stare at the UV lights for about 5 seconds, it turns the humans back to humans. Makes sense. It's not a cop-out. No, it's lame. It's super, super lame. Come on. So the rehumanized Heidi and Brad go to the dig site to collect the seeds while Doc and Tom set up the lights on the road back to town. The seed truck gets escorted down the road and tries to take them on a different path, so Brad guns it. Meanwhile, at the substation, Doc makes an argument.
As a scientist, Tom, save one of the seeds. We have to preserve one of them.
Don't start with me now, Doc. I don't want to hear this.
Brad drives like an asshole and ruins everything. So they hide under the vehicle while Tom sprays the flying ones. Doc then sacrifices himself to make the light work, and in a couple, maybe a few seconds, the townspeople are back to normal. You know? Super lame. Fucking joke. Oh, though it looks like Mrs. Santiago didn't turn back, so Brad and Tom chase after her. Tom starts leaking the herbicide and Mrs. Santiago fights him. Tom does end it though, and now we're back at the hospital. But the Fed wants to know about Doc.
He was electrocuted. He was burned so badly he couldn't even recognize him.
I don't know how Tom would know that, since he was just trying to stay alive until he got knocked unconscious, but sure, at this point, sure. And maybe you guessed it by now, but they didn't destroy all the seeds. Somehow Mrs. Santiago is still alive. The end. Who want the fun facts? I'll assume you said yes. I just recently learned that Agent Orange was actually just a herbicide. So I've only ever heard it mentioned in relation to the Vietnam War, so I figured it was a chemical made just for war, and I didn't ever bother to look it up because why? But no, it's a herbicide. It's crazy. According to IMDb, the trailer for this movie reused the music from Subspecies. That's a hard word to say, Subspecies. Subspecies. Yeah, maybe see if you can do it better. They achieved the tumbleweed creature look by wrapping fiberglass in netting and pulling them with remote control cars. The largest seed in the world is the double coconut, another thing I've never heard of, but the seed for this can measure up to 1.5 feet around the middle. So, should you give this a chance?
Wow, what memories.
Overall, I don't like this movie, Don't get me wrong, mostly acting is actually decent and the music is good. I just can't get over the inconsistencies, like the weird age gap and, the plot. Like, not to mention how quickly they turn back into humans. Super lame. Super lame. The only thing I really like about this movie is that it reminds me of USA Up All Night, and I tried asking ChatGPT if it was, and it gave me this bullshit answer. Yes, it was. Well, actually, I can't say for sure, but this movie fits the theme of the show, so yeah, it could have been. Yeah, I know it fits the theme. That's why I asked the question in the first place, you dick. If you do want to watch it, I'll put a link in the description where you can check it out for free, but as far as I'm concerned, I could give two loose shits about this movie. It's just, I don't like it. I guess it could be something to have on in the background if you don't have to pay attention to it, but I still don't think it's good. Also, make sure to watch my last video for gargoyles. Alright, see ya. I started doing this with my hands automatically. I don't know why. Alright, see ya. There, that's what we're gonna do until we get rid of it. Subspecies. Subspecies. It's the species. I'm getting the species. Subspecies.